Hoy nabigyan. Sorry.
Recording in progress. Recording stopped.
Sana, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Platform, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
I've done that one, sir.
Recording in progress.
Mavele kore mo yu banara mavele mo ku banara mavele para mo ku ke amtora to sapo. Kwande jole. Ene le na ko ne ste arla ka ga mi.
Madam Speaker.
There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Please be seated. Order. The only item on today's order paper is questions addressed to the Deputy President. There are 4 supplementary questions on each question. Parties have been given an indication of which questions their members wish to pose a supplementary question. Adequate notice was given to parties for this purpose. This was done to facilitate participation of members who are connecting to the sitting through the virtual platform. The members who will pose supplementary questions will be recognized by the presiding officer. In allocating opportunities for supplementary questions, the principle of fairness amongst others has been applied. If a member who is supposed to ask a supplementary question through the virtual platform is unable to do so due to technological difficulties, the party whip on duty will be allowed to ask the question on behalf of their member. When all the supplementary questions have been answered by the Deputy President, we will proceed to the next question on the order paper. Members asking supplementary questions or raising points of order may remain seated when doing so. The first question has been asked by the Honorable S. Gwahube to the Deputy President. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Because it's Heritage Month and it's a Friday, members have assured me that they are going to go easy. Especially the DA, go easy today. Honorable Speaker, the question was posed to us during our last appearance in this chamber in June, and we take it very seriously. Together with the Department of COGTA, we have identified through the State of Local Government report 66 municipalities that require immediate support. The challenge facing local government are multidimensional and are primarily rooted in the following, amongst others: poor governance, weak institutional capacity, poor financial management, and political instability. To this end, we have conducted oversight visits to 6 provinces, namely the Northwest, Gauteng, Free State, KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, and Mpumalanga. And this was to ensure that we resolve the challenges of poor governance and lack of service delivery in these areas. Furthermore, during our outreach program, we have identified areas for improvement in coordinating service delivery interventions related to infrastructure backlogs and providing access to essential services. We are, Honorable Speaker, also working through the district development model to improve intergovernmental relations between governments, spheres on policy, planning, budgeting, and execution. Together with the Department of COGTA, we established what we call the Result Management Office, RMO, which will be used to strengthen this work. The RMO will focus, amongst others, on ensuring that municipalities improve service delivery with support and capacity from the war room, an engine for integrated service delivery that links to the community, coordinates profiles, and integrates service delivery, bringing about improvements through a range of measures designed to empower municipalities to execute projects in a manner that is consistent with the best practices and improve processes across the local government sphere, addressing resources, capacity, and skills constraint in the local government space, and finally, facilitating improvements in planning, coordination, executing, monitoring, and reporting on the delivery of projects. Honorable Speaker, we aim to create resilient, sustainable, and cohesive communities where municipalities serve as catalysts and enablers of development. I thank you.
I thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The first supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable S. Gwahube.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Deputy President, it is common cause that problems that have engulfed our metro governments across the country have been due to decades of mismanagement, cadre deployment, a lack of maintenance of critical infrastructure, and the theft of public money. In fact, the governing party's 2021 manifesto, you promised that you would drastically improve the state of roads, critical infrastructure, and service delivery alongside local and provincial governments. But that was already a dishonest undertaking, Deputy President. The ANC has presided over these cities and towns for years and did not do any preemptive maintenance work. Instead, funds were looted. Our towns and cities are falling apart because of decades of neglect and corruption, to the point where a city like Johannesburg is now exploding and costing people's lives. Over 70 people tragically lost their lives in a hijacked building that caught fire in Johannesburg several weeks ago. And an entire street exploded in the city center due to the lack of critical infrastructure. You have been tasked with championing service delivery as the DP. Will you at least be honest with South Africans and apologize for the mismanagement and the theft at a local government that has left places like Johannesburg the mess that they are in today?
The Honorable, the Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Kwahube, when the President appointed me as Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, amongst others, he asked me to visit various provinces where there are service delivery challenges, to be able to intervene and ensure that we can deal with those problems. So the issues you are raising about challenges, whether in Johannesburg and any of these areas, are problems that we are well aware of. And that's the reason I indicated earlier that I have already visited a number of areas in the country. In Gauteng, I've been to Mfuleni, where there were challenges of water and other challenges. Of course, the challenges in Joburg, some of them are much recent, but we will be also going to Johannesburg to deal with those challenges. Yes, it is true that in some of our municipalities, the states of roads are not in good order, but a lot of work is happening. If you, for instance, look at the Northwest, those of you who may be following, the Premier there has been involved in what they call Tunsaleroli. I don't know what it is in English. Tunsaleroli. Now, what the Premier briefed me about is that they are closing all potholes in the Northwest. They are busy with that, dealing with potholes, closing potholes, engaging in various other service delivery challenges. So work is happening in these various municipalities. So it's not like there are challenges and the ANC is not doing anything. If you go to the Free State, I've been to Jagersfontein, a lot of work is now happening in that area. Deputy Minister Parkstow has been there 3 times to deal with issues there. So in short, Speaker, let me say to Honorable Kwahube that the ANC is on the ground, is dealing with these issues. And in fact, where the challenges of service delivery has been because of councillors that are appointed in those areas, we do intervene to bring in new councillors that can do better work. So we are intervening, and I'm confident that we are going to improve service delivery on the ground. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable B.A. Hadebe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And the Funungasho, today you look supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Thank you, Deputy President. Deputy President, your response highlights the need for all three spheres of government to comprehend and appreciate the importance of working together if we are to resolve the challenges facing local government. Honorable Deputy President, may you please indicate to the nation and some of these members in the House the negative consequences and the impact of one sphere of government refusing to collaborate and work together in an integrated manner. Secondly, please indicate to us whether or not our democratic government has measures in place to mitigate such a resistance and enforce intergovernmental relations, as we have seen in the recent past in the Texas strike in Cape Town and the illegal occupation of Central Line in Nyanga and Philippi. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Member, you will recall that one of the pieces of legislation that we have in place is the Intergovernmental Relations Framework Act. And that was to ensure precisely that we are able to work together, national, provincial, and local government. But also, when there are challenges on the ground, provinces have the responsibilities to intervene. They can use Section 139 to intervene. Like it happened, for instance, when there were challenges in Tshwane, MEC Maile invoked this section to be able to intervene there. There's also Section 154, which really is about providing support. So if there are challenges, then local governments fear, national government and provincial government are obligated to provide support so that the municipality can continue to provide service delivery. We are also using the DDM as a vehicle to coordinate these efforts. In fact, I must say, honorable members, that in all the provinces I've visited, the DDM was well received. As I indicated, the provinces where I've gone, I've not found any resistance. Of course, I still have to come to the Western Cape. I hope I will be well received as well. I will be well received. Oh, I'm so happy. They say I'm going to be well received in the Western Cape. Because, honorable members, it's important that we work together. Finger pointing does not help. Unless somebody does not want to cooperate, then you can blame them for that. But where all of us are willing to work together, let's do so. Because when we coordinate, we pull resources together as we do in DDM, that benefit people on the ground. It's about service delivery, it's about improving the lives of the people on the ground. So yes, coordination is important, working together is important, and is provided for also in legislation. Thank you very much, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable Mkalipi or Honorable Manye.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Deputy President, the entire country is a service delivery hotspot, not just one area, the entire country. Earlier this year, Mr. Ramaphosa indicated that 163 of the 257 municipalities, that's over 60%, are completely dysfunctional. if municipalities are the closest level of government to the people, they've been allowed to degenerate to this level of disaster. And those responsible for this mess are never prosecuted or held to account in any other ways. How else do you plan to fix this lack of service delivery to our people? Why has there been no follow-up on the findings and the recommendations of the Auditor General on all these municipalities over the years? And what exactly is it that we're planning to do to fix this mess?
Thank you, Honorable Manyi. The Honorable
Thank you.
Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Manyi, as I said earlier, that we are already intervening. We are aware that 66 municipalities, as I said, were identified as dysfunctional, but already COCTA is intervening. We are supporting them, working with them. In the long run, we want to ensure that all the municipalities are properly run. I did say at some point when speaking on this matter that the ANC itself has now intervened in many of these areas, and when there are by-elections or new elections, they make sure that we are able to get the right people to be appointed in those areas. If it comes to mayors, for instance, you may be aware that all mayors of the ANC now are interviewed by the leadership. So we go through their CVs and we interview and appoint the best. When it comes to metros, those interviews are actually led by the president himself. And so we're not taking chances because we consider municipalities as very important. As you're saying, they are the first line of defense, closer to the people. So we are making sure that the leaders in those areas go through rigorous interviews. The speakers are being interviewed, the chief whips. And as a result, we're going to see great improvements in those areas, but also national and provincial government must continue to support municipalities so that we don't leave them on their own, because some of them, the problems is not just leadership or poor governance, it's also lack of economic activity. You know, there are municipalities in South Africa where there is no economic base. So we need to look at that. And in fact, at some point, we're thinking that you may even need to merge some of those so that we are able to give them some capacity to be able to have some economic base to generate revenue. But yes, Honorable Manyi, we are intervening. Thank you very much for your question.
Thank you, Deputy President, Honorable Deputy President. I've been informed that the request for the last supplementary question was not received. So we then proceed to question number 14, and that has been asked by the Honorable N.F. Chivambu to the Deputy President. The Honorable the Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as the chairperson of the Interministerial Committee on Land Reform and Agriculture, I have been proactively engaging with the Minister on various issues, including this one that Member Shibambu is raising. The issue of land claims is sensitive, and we treat it with the utmost urgency and care that it deserves. During a recent interaction with the Minister and members of the IMC, I was presented with a report that indicates that as of June the 30th this year, there are 5,407 outstanding old order claims rather than 6,600 as indicated by Member Shibambu. a discrepancy of almost about 1,100 that exists from the claim made. Honorable Shibambu may be unaware of the updated report, but there is some movement now that is taking place. The government has since adopted several interventions to support the acceleration of land reform programs. This includes, but is not limited to the following. The National Council of Provinces is currently considering the expropriation bill. Secondly, the Land Court Amendment Bill, which includes provision for communal land transfer, registration, title, and appointment of land rights inquiry, has been sent to the President for assent. The bill aims to regulate the administration and use of communal land by communities within the framework of applicable laws, including spatial planning and land use management. Third, the revision of the Property Valuation Act to provide for precise scope of the Office of the Valuer General and methodology to determine and adjust an equitable compensation. Fourth, the development of an overarching integrated land administration policy framework that prioritizes documenting all land and legislation to underpin economic, social, institutional, and environmental sustainability. Fifth, identifying land needs within cities and towns to inform the land reform program, prioritizing land needs for human settlement, industry, economic, and urban agricultural development to change spatial patterns and enhance socioeconomic advancements. And lastly, the strategic acquisition, release, and allocation of land, which include the release of the remaining parcels of land for restitution purposes, and equally important, the post-settlement support required to ensure the successful usage and application of land that has been released. Honorable Speaker, the Interministerial Committee on Land Reform and Agriculture will continue to review the best plausible options to improve overall financing of the backlog, and particularly the backlog reduction strategy as introduced by the Commission. Also to accelerate the settlement of all ordered claims so that we can resolve this matter within a reasonably shorter period. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
And thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The first supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable N.F. Shibambu.
In his stead, Madam Speaker, Deputy President, it's common cause that the restitution program has really been a complete mess since inception. You've thus far spent 50 billion to settle some 76,000 claims since 1998. And half of this money went towards compensating white land owners. And a chunk of the other half went towards subsidizing these white farmers as strategic partners to the land restitution claimants. There are still over 100,000 land claims that are sealed until the finalization of the 1998 land claims. Land restitution has benefited white farmers more than it has land claimants. And most of these claimed farms are not being put into use because there is no post-settlement support for land claimants. Have you as government conducted a review of this program of land reform to assess its continued desirability? If so, what is the basis of your belief that this program of land reform is useful in your attempts to reclaim the land? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Mani, as I said earlier, that the Interministerial Committee on Land Reform has been revitalized. I chair that committee and we have already met more than once. And the Minister of Agriculture, Land Reform, and the deputy are part of that committee. We are prioritizing this matter because indeed we have realized that it's costing a lot of money, taking too long. But we have realized that there are some challenges that we have to deal with. Let me indicate amongst them would be the question of overlapping rights in some instances. Sometimes the claims are very complex. They are competing claims. In some instances, land claimants do overcharge, or let me say they inflate the prices of land. So we have to contain with that, because you are quite right that we have spent a lot of money already. But I looked at the report which was provided to the Interministerial Committee that in fact we've really made some progress because 83,000 claimants have been processed, but we still have these 5,000 that we need to conclude. And we are trying to make sure that we don't spend the kind of billions of rands that we have spent before. So we are going to look at these issues, look at the budgets, but in some instances, the delays because of also land invasions. In some areas, you have land invasions. And in some areas, landowners challenge the validity of claims. But I don't think it's a program that we should abandon. My view is that the Interministerial Committee should look at the defects, correct it, and make sure that we can complete it faster, but within reasonable budget. Because if we proceed in the manner in which we did, we estimated that it could cost us up to 172 billion rand over the next 30 years. We want to do it shorter, within reasonable budget, but of course, in some instances where you want to move fast, you can't because of some of the challenges I've indicated. But the Interministerial Committee is now seized with this matter. Thank you very much, Honorable Mani. You will convey that to Honorable Shiba.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable B.T. Chwete.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Deputy President, with the elements of criminality and orchestrated delay tactics towards achieving land reform and restitution, mainly the sense you are by the ones seated on your left-hand side, all of them. What mechanism can be used?
Just read your question. Just read your question.
What mechanism can be used to intervene in order to rectify the injustice of the past? Thank you.
I thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. You know, one of the big challenges as you deal with issues of land redistribution and redistribution is also a problem of crime and corruption that is involved. So what the President has done and presented to Cabinet, and we approved a national anti-corruption strategy. And also the SIU is also investigating those matters. But in order to speed up these issues of land restitution, we need to get the commission to work closely with the Office of the Valuer General to make sure that they can deal with these matters. It's really to improve the turnaround strategy. There are a number of things that they look at when they deal with the turnaround strategy, and we want to improve those issues. The Interministerial Committee on Land Reform, Agriculture and Land Reform, is now working very closely with these institutions to make sure that we can then complete this process faster and properly. So we are doing that, Honorable Member. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable WM3.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Deputy President, during the apartheid era, family was forcibly removed off their farm in Weza between Harding and Coxted in KwaZulu-Natal. The farm was leased out to a forest plantation farmer who paid rental to government over the years. In 1998, a land claim was made by the family with all the necessary documentation submitted. The man who was forced off the farm as a child with his parents was excited that finally justice would be done and reparations made. Months turned into years and years to decades, and no land was returned or reparations received. And the man died in 2010. That man was my spiritual mentor and senior pastor. Honorable Deputy President, noting that these inordinate delays create a second injustice, what action will you take, and by when, to bring government officials responsible for delays and or alleged fraud, as mentioned in the Motlanthe High Panel on Land, to assist the thousands of families and people groups to receive what is rightfully theirs? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Tring. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Thrill, the case you are citing obviously affects many other families out there. We are very sympathetic to your family and everybody out there, because you are quite right. This process should have moved faster. But as I said earlier, we have now identified where the challenges are, and we're going to intervene. It's not going to be easy because, as I said, if you look at some of the reasons why we delay, it's sometimes out of government's hand, but in the Interministerial Committee, we are preoccupied with that to ensure that we can bring justice to people who were forcibly removed from their land, who have now put claims to be able to receive their land. So what I will do, because it's a very critical matter, and the country will keep Parliament informed about where we are, how we're moving, what are the problems that we are facing. But we are definitely aware of the problems that the families are facing, because people get old and they pass on before they can receive their land. So I guess the commitment I'm making is that we're going to try very hard to move fast so that we can bring justice to people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. The last supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable T.M. Mpapama.
Mpapama. Thank you very
Uthema
much.
Mpapama.
The Restitution of Land Rights Act 22 of 1994 has a duty to establish a Commission on Restitution of Land Rights, which is seen as such in law. Deputy President, I must say your interministerial meeting
is achieving nothing. You have failed the 5,403 Black claimants who have been waiting for decades to get their land back. Had the commission been conducting its work as an independent entity, no one would have
Order,
had to wait
please.
for decades to have their claim finalized. Don't you think that it is high time, Deputy President, that you apologize to the families whose members have died waiting in vain for restitution
Order.
due to your government's incompetence and gross negligence? And how are you holding the minister and her officials to account? And the interventions that you've been given are not for restitution. They are for land redistribution. We are talking restitution here. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Member, the IMC met last month. So I think give it a chance to do its work. I don't think you can say we are achieving nothing when we are starting. It's not like we have been working for 30 years. This IMC is starting, and I'm convinced that we will succeed. And remember, the minister and the deputy are also new. So give them a chance. So I'm working with them, and we have started, and this issue is top on our agenda. We are concerned about land redistribution as much as we are concerned about land restitution. And the IMC is going to meet quite often to fast track these matters, because we ourselves understand that this is very important in the country, and many of our people who were forcefully removed from their rightful land for many years need to get back their land. It's a priority for us, honorable members. So we'll keep you posted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. Question number 15, order. Question number 15 has been asked by the Honorable B.S. Nkosi to the Deputy President. B.S. Nkosi, the Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, supported by the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, I undertook a working visit to the Republic of South Sudan from the 29th to the 31st of August this year. The visit to South Sudan enabled me to familiarize myself with the South Sudan peace process and its challenges. In this context, I held extensive and fruitful discussions with President Salva Kiir and met the following stakeholders: Dr. Riek Machar, first Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan, and who's also the leader of the Sudan People's Liberation Movement in opposition. Also met Vice President Thabang Dengai, also Vice President Dr. James Wani, Vice President Hussein Abel Bagi, and we were not able to meet Vice President Mama Rebecca Nyandeng because she was out of the country. Also had an opportunity to meet African ambassadors accredited to South Sudan, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, ambassadors of the Troika, who are made up of the United States, of the United States of America, United Kingdom, and the Kingdom of Norway. Also met ministers of information and communication technologies and postal services, justice and constitutional affairs of South Sudan. Met the reconstituted Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission. Met with the ambassador of the European Union, and also met with the head of the African Union mission in South Sudan, as well as the special representative of the Secretary General,
Okay.
who is the head of the United Nations mission in South Sudan, Mr. Nicholas Haysom. Honorable Speaker, during these discussions, the key issue that Sudanese actors and others raised was the need to fully implement the transitional security arrangements contained in Chapter 2 of the Revitalized Agreement on the Resolution of Conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. The South Sudanese have requested assistance from South Africa in this area, and the Department of Defense and Police will be consulted regarding assistance in implementing this Chapter 2, including a holistic disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration process. Also, Honorable Speaker, South Africa is committed to supporting South Sudan to conclude the implementation of the revitalized transitional phase in order to hold peaceful elections by the end of 2024 in December. Another outstanding issue is the promulgation of electoral and political party legislation to enable the reconstitution of the electoral institutions, such as the National Elections Commission of South Sudan. Also to prepare for the organization of national elections, as I said, by December next year. In order to do so, they will require capacity building, training of their officials. In addition, we noted that substantial electoral funding will be required for South Sudan to be able to have successful national elections. South Sudan is due to also undertake permanent constitution making under Chapter 6 of the Revitalized Agreement. This process attaches substantial legal work and is necessary, but also time consuming. They are also going to engage in a broader nationwide consultative process that will ensure that they engage with NGOs and many people of South Sudan. South Sudan further requires assistance with transitional justice matters, and we have asked the Minister of Justice of South Africa to be able to assist in that regard. They are also looking at having something similar to our reconciliation and healing process. So we will also be able to assist them to have their kind of truth and reconciliation commission. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, I want to emphasize that South Africa is committed to supporting all regional and continental initiatives to silence the guns on the continent, particularly in support of Agenda 2063. We will continue to support IGAD and African Union-led initiatives aimed at ensuring peace and prosperity also in the Sudan and other parts of the Horn of Africa. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Deputy President. First supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable B.S. Ngosi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Deputy President, thank you for your response on the efforts to restore peace, ensure economic development in South Sudan and regional
stability. May you and the government indicate what are the envisaged phases of the finalization of the peace process and the implications of that for South Sudan and the neighboring countries. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nkosi. The first thing that we are prioritizing is for all the parties there to adhere to the time frame that they have set themselves in the revitalized agreement. At the moment, the revitalized agreement envisage a process that should end by February 2025. However, they then agreed that the elections should be next year, December. So we are supporting them to continue to work within that time frame. One of the things that will ensure that they can adhere to this is to finalize the issue of the unified forces to create one defense force. That process has also started. They have already accredited the first level of all generals, and they are now dealing with the middle ones. The third one, of course, is the drafting of a permanent constitution. However, they have agreed that they may be able to go to elections before they complete the permanent constitution and be able to leave that work to the new parliament. But they are busy with it as well. And lastly, they want to ensure that everybody is part of the process. There were some opposition parties that were doubtful. They're trying to bring them in. And maybe that's why members will understand they have 5 vice presidents. So you can see that it's an attempt to bring everybody in. Yeah, it's a very big institution that the National Assembly there, or the parliament there, has got about 650 MPs and about 48 ministers. So the idea is to bring everybody, all the warring parties in. But I think it's good that they have now agreed that they need to go to elections. So I think South Africa must give the support so that this happens and we can have a democratic state in South Sudan. Thank you very much, Honorable Nkosi.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. Honorable Deputy President, the second supplementary question has been withdrawn by the Honorable W.J. Oshoff. So we proceed then to deal with the third supplementary question, which will be asked by the Honorable A. Schreiber.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Honorable Deputy President, deliberations are currently underway to withdraw the UN's peacekeeping forces from neighboring Eastern DRC, where armed militias have, as you know, terrorized the civilian population there for decades. Roughly 1,000 soldiers currently form part of that particular mission. In light of the deteriorating humanitarian situation due to the resurgence of the M23 rebellion and other illegally armed groups, SADC has this month pledged to deploy a replacement peacekeeping force in that area. A SADC deployment supported by South Africa will, of course, have a significant impact on existing resource constraints domestically. Given the absence of essential resources necessary to safeguard our soldiers, such as the ongoing lack of availability of the Oryx transport units and the Rooivalk attack helicopters, what steps are the government taking to ensure that adequate resourcing is made available to our troops in the Great Lakes region? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Honorable.
The Honorable Deputy
Thank you,
President.
Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Schreiber.
Deputy President Zuma.
Yes, it is true that
The Honorable Deputy President.
oh, I didn't hear.
It's Friday, I know, Deputy President. You may proceed.
What did the speaker say?
Nothing.
Oh. Yeah, it's a Friday. Honorable Saib, you are quite right. We will not have all the resources as South Africa, but our approach is to work with the other countries. As you know that we are in full support of IGAD, for instance, in South Sudan. We also have the C5 there that is led by our president. So what we'll do is to continue to work with these other countries. Because if we as South Africa think we can do it on our own, I don't think we'll succeed. We need lots of resources. But I think the reason for the withdrawal there, I mean, if I listen to what President Tshisekedi said yesterday, was that they've had enough of the UN peacekeeping force. They now want to do things for themselves. I think it's fair that we shouldn't keep foreign peacekeeping forces too long in other countries. I think we should help countries to stabilize and take over. So I support President Tshisekedi for saying, look, enough UN, we can do it ourselves, but of course, as you correctly say, supported by other African countries. South Africa will be part of that. Of course, I haven't checked with the Minister of Defense what is the state of our Roy Falk and all that. But I'm sure we will have resources that we can deploy there. And I think we should do it. Thank you.
I thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The last supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable M. Fengwa.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Mr. Deputy President, I'm glad you made reference to 2063, Agenda 2063, and you're speaking, of course, about the democratization of processes within South Sudan, particularly with the elections in which you referred to. But of course, this is not an issue in isolation to South Sudan on the continent, and South Africa continues to be party to many regional and continental bodies, including SADC, looking into this matter of Agenda 2063 and elections and democracy. Key amongst these areas is the issue of Zimbabwe, Mr. President. How do you reconcile then the outlook that you have of Agenda 2063, democracy and elections, with our country and government endorsing the elections in Zimbabwe, which the SADC has clearly said the elections fell short of the Constitution of Zimbabwe and the Electoral Act and the SADC principles and guidelines for democratic elections, and further says the elections were flawed and therefore the result not legitimate? Does this not make South Africa seem to be speaking from both sides of its mouth and therefore not providing the necessary clarity, and therefore we're not credible in the outlook that we have insofar as the issues you've outlined? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Well, before I allow the Deputy President to respond, I will take an order from Honorable Khatebe.
Honorable Speaker, with due respect, according to Rule 142, this is a new question altogether. I think it's unfair to the DP. Thank you.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Honorable Shengwa.
Madam Speaker.
I've not given you the floor, Honorable Shengwa.
May I crave your indulgence, Madam Speaker?
But actually, it is true that even though you are still raising a matter which relates to peace processes, however, you are now raising a matter related to election, which has nothing to do with your original question related to peace issues in South Sudan. Deputy President may want to answer that question, but I would have discouraged him from doing so.
Madam Speaker, on a point of order.
Ayikho point of order, Galo.
It can't.
Honorable Shengwa, Hayi, sumosha kaloku.
But
Yima.
Madam Speaker,
Honorable Clem, ndizakukhupha, ndizakucima, ndizakucima. Okay, Deputy President, do you want to respond to the question? Are you ready for
Well,
it?
I think what we should say, Honorable Speaker, is that we do want Zimbabwe to be stable. Because when Zimbabwe is not stable, it does affect us. Because people in that country comes here because there's no stability. My sense is that having gone through the elections, they will be able to stabilize their own country and be able to focus on development. I think let's accept that they have gone through that process and they must stabilize. Let's leave it there.
I thank you, Honorable Deputy President. Question number 16 has been asked by the Honorable MGE Hendricks to the Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The matter of Makaza land claim, which consists of 3 competing claimants, that's the following: the Zandvlei community, Kamis/Daris heritage land claim, and the Muslim Judicial Council, is currently before the Land Claims Court. We are therefore, Honorable Speaker, not in a position to intervene until the court has finalized the matter. I therefore urge the parties involved to find each other so that we can finalize the land claim. However, as part of our delegated responsibility, as the member asked, of implementing rapid response intervention on service delivery, troubleshooting in hotspots, and monitoring the implementation of the district development model, we have decided to visit a number of areas in the Western Cape. I did say earlier that as part of my visiting provinces, I haven't come to the Western Cape. So we will be coming. And when we come to the Western Cape, Honorable Member, we will include a visit to Zandvlei, but also Porterville. We are still finalizing other areas where we think we should be able to go and see the state of service delivery and address challenges that the communities are facing. So, Honorable Member, rest assured, and also esteemed members of the House, that we are taking active measures to prioritize the acceleration of land claims, and it stands as a top priority on the agenda of the IMC, as I said earlier. However, we will have to wait for the court to conclude its work before we can proceed once more with this matter. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The first supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable MGE Hendricks.
Thank you very much, Deputy President, for the update. It puts me in a strong position to meet with my constituency and inform you of your response. They will be very excited to hear that you will be visiting their precinct, which consists of 4 generations of Mr. Kamis/Daris, who bought this land when he was a free black. So thank you very much. Further, there are quite a number of other matters, Honorable Deputy President, and I want to know if the Interministerial Committee Directorate will be open to us submitting a comprehensive memorandum with the many claims, especially of free blacks, whose land was expropriated with little or no compensation, largely from the Malay and Muslim community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Hendricks. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Hendricks, for your understanding. Indeed, if you do have other matters that you want the IMC to consider, you can bring them forward. We'll be able to look at them. Thank you very much.
I thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable T. Mahambeshala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Deputy President, in view of the fact that your response has our government reiterated its commitment towards the speedy settlement of all outstanding land claims by the Commission on Restitution of Land Rights, is it possible for the Deputy President to share with South Africans and ourselves here in the Honorable House how much land has been restituted and or redistributed since 1994? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mahambeshala. The Honorable Deputy President.
I may not, thank you, Honorable Speaker, I may not have all the figures of the amount of land that has been restituted. However, those figures are available with the Commission and we can make them available to the Honorable member. But of course, as I said in the earlier question that we have, or the Commission has approved more than 87,000 claims. There are still the 5,000 that are remaining. And the amount of money spent already amounts to about 79 billion because of, as I said, sometimes it's expensive to deal with this matter. There are, Honorable Member, other claimants who don't want the land. Yes, they want money. So instead of saying we can get this land back, they say just pay us. And then of course they find valuators who come with ridiculous prices that we have to deal with. But we should be able to, Honorable Member, get you those figures of to how much land has been restituted so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable T.M. Papama.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The land claim of the 200 families who have been allocated restitution sites at Zenfley near Makassar in the Western Cape is not the only long outstanding claim still to be finalized. There are 5,402 others, of which this is one of them. The responses given by your Deputy Minister Skwatsha in this House on Wednesday to questions regarding the Land Claims Commission paint a picture of an uncaring government. Deputy President.
Order, honorable members.
Deputy President, have you held Deputy Minister Skwatsha to account? Have you bothered to find out how many claims are more than 20 years outstanding? And if not, why not?
Thank you, Honorable Papama. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Member, I did say earlier that Deputy Minister Skwatsha is part of the interministerial committee. So he's already held to account through that mechanism. I couldn't hear, honorable member, just pardon me. You said,
I can repeat it.
no, just one part. There's one part I didn't hear properly. You were saying the 5,202 claims are from where?
Now you may want to repeat.
Thank
your
you, thank you. I was saying that this claim is part of 5,402 that are outstanding.
Oh, I see.
Akuthethwa nani
Order, man.
salupapa.
Order.
No, it's
Honorable,
okay.
Honorable
No,
Squash.
I didn't
These are
hear the
all-
member. I thought that the member was saying, in addition to the 200 in Makaza, there's another 5,200. Now she's saying no, the 200 are part of the 5,000. No, it's fine, honorable member, because I think I've already dealt with this matter, that they are about
Disciplinary.
5,000 or so claims that are still outstanding. Makaza is, or Zanfley, those areas are included. So as we push faster to deal with the 5,000, we will include those areas. Save, as I said to Honorable Hendricks, once the court has completed its work, then we'll be able to get the commissioner to, or even ask the minister to appoint a new commissioner to then process those claims. Thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable the Deputy President.
Answered the question.
The last
Totality.
supplementary question. Honorable Mpapama. Honorable Mpapama. I funny now with the leg. The last supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable H.O. Mtetwa. Mtetwa.
Imtetwa,
Mtetwa. Proceed.
Madam Speaker, thank you, Madam Speaker. In honor of your request, Deputy President, that we should be easy on you since it's heritage. Kuyadabukisa ukubona ukuthi the highest discipline and order you are being given is from this side. Abakho bangcola ngisho noma kukhuluma wena President. Ukubonisa ukuthi abakuhloniphi kwawena. Especially line le phambili yabo minister nabo deputy ministers. Phambi kwa chief whip bayangcola noma ukhuluma.
Awulela mwana makhasman.
Kodwa ke siyazi Deputy
We
President.
are running
ukuthi-
out of time for your question.
Deputy President, one of the main reasons for delays in the settlement of these land claims is the fact that the Commission for the Restitution of Land Rights is not given sufficient budget to deal with the volumes of claims. The downside of this is that lame claims have to wait, or lame claimants have to wait, and that most of these who lodged these claims and who were first-hand victims of dispossession are dying without their land being returned to them. To date, it is not clear what criteria the Commission uses to prioritize land claims for settlement. In your engagement with the Minister and the Commission, have they indicated what criteria that they use to prioritize which land would be settled in a particular year? Angazi ke
Thank you,
ngoba-
Honorable Mtetwa.
angazi ke ngoba
Honorable-
ababuyi ke next year.
The Honorable the Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Nyambos, I thought that you will say you are going easy on me because we used to be friends. You remember? Okay. Okay, Nyambos and myself worked very well together when I was Minister of Arts and Culture. So I remember you from there, Nyambos. You were doing very well. Honorable Speaker, I did allude to the fact that one of the challenges in the delay of processing claims has to do with budgets. Of course, we will, through the IMC, then examine that carefully, because it may well be that the commissions, they run out of budget because of paying these hefty demands that they are facing. I think if we can work in such a way that claimants don't come with very hefty claims, we should be able to mobilize sufficient budget to complete the work. But it's something that we're looking at. And obviously, we're going to allow the ministry to then carefully look at the criteria that is being used. My approach, of course, is that no land claim should be better than the other. I think if we have criteria, we should avoid a situation where we come with the kind of criteria that will prioritize others and leave others behind. I think all land claims are important, and I think should be given the necessary attention by the commissioners and prioritized. But of course, with the ministry, we'll look at the issue of the budget so that the commissioners don't say we can't do our work because we've run out of money. So Nyambos, we will do that. Siyabule.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. That brings us to the next question now. Question number 17 has been asked by the Honorable N. Tapa to the Deputy President. The Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the government will continue to implement steps to capacitate producers with the requisite skills and mentorship programs as part of a comprehensive farmer support. This support assists farmers to optimize both production and marketing operations. To reach this goal, the Minister of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, the private sector, labor, collaborated to develop what is called the Agriculture and Agro-Processing Master Plan, and it was signed in May last year, 2022. The master plan is a social compact and the first strategic plan to have commodity-specific transformation targets, jobs, exports, investments, and growth rates. It focuses on commercial land reform in rural areas to increase food production and farmers' infrastructure. Through the Agriculture and Agro-Processing Master Plan, the government has successfully leveraged, unlocked nearly 3.5 billion in funding through the blended finance scheme to support farmers and agribusiness. Furthermore, the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development has launched the 1.2 billion rand Agro Energy Fund to assist small, medium, and large-scale farmers in diversifying their energy supply sources for energy-intensive farming practices. Honorable Speaker, in partnership with the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, the Industrial Development Corporation has established the Agri-Industrial Fund to support economically viable activities, particularly in agro-processing sectors, including food and non-food products. The aim is to develop a competitive industry that uses local and regional resources to supply domestic demand and increase international trade participation. The program targets high-value export-oriented crops, poultry, livestock, and expansionary acquisition of these subsectors. Qualifying businesses, which should be 60% Black-owned, will access debt and grants to support their capital equipments, infrastructure, and working capital requirements. The Agricultural Industrial Fund is central to the recovery of the local economy by assisting producers and investees in developing, expanding, acquiring, and integrating operations in prioritized agricultural value chains. In this regard, we are engaging key stakeholders, including the private sector role players, to sponsor programs to enhance skills development, capacity building, and small-scale producers to ensure that rural businesses and small-scale farmers benefit from this initiative. Honorable Speaker, the government is also reviewing relevant legislation governing land holding entities such as trusts, community property associations, etc. In this regard, the Communal Association Amendment Bill has been passed by both houses of parliament and has now been sent to the President for assent. Through these interventions and measures, the government will be able to introduce sustainable finance and farmer development models that will enable small and medium-scale Black-owned farms in rural areas to grow, produce, and market their quality products, and thus contribute to South Africa's food security. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The first supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable N. Papa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President, for this courage and hope that you give to the Black farmers. Considering the significance and importance of these programs you have just outlined in order to support the Black farmers.
Let's hold on, please. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry, Deputy President. Honorable Masipa, will you please stand? There are two things we are doing. Either you are conveying kisses or you are doing that to a puppy. There's no puppy here. And you can't be conveying kisses here. Don't do that again. Please don't. Take your seat. Honorable members, order, we proceed. Tatu Kapa, please continue.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was saying, now, considering the importance and significance of the programs you have just outlined to support the Black farmers, what monitoring and evaluation mechanisms are in place to guarantee that they are effectively implemented so that they benefit those they are intended for? And also to ensure that these funding programs will not be misused and corrupted. And thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Papa. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Kapa, the department has introduced proactive land acquisition strategy, and that helps them to be able to support these programs and also to monitor and evaluate these programs in an ongoing way. We also know that the Land Bank has got blended finance schemes that support particularly joint ventures that are being conceptualized out there. So there's a lot of support and monitoring mechanisms that has been put in place. We also know that the portfolio committee itself is playing a very active role in ensuring a continued oversight on the implementation of this program. So I'm confident that monitoring and evaluation is there, oversight is there by the portfolio committee, the department, and particularly I think the proactive land acquisition strategies is the cornerstone of ensuring the success of this program. Thank you very much, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable Esquahobe.
Thank you, Speaker. Sekela Mongameli, in 2019, in the ANC manifesto, your party committed to what you called Sustainable Land Reform Program, which was meant to accelerate land reform for Black people who've been excluded from the economy and aid with food security. The land reform process has been riddled with policy uncertainty and corruption over the years. Deputy President, I think we can agree that the ANC government has failed Black South Africans in unforgivable ways. Will you admit that this failure to empower small and medium-sized farm owners now affects food security to the point where families across the country are going without food? Mothers are resorting to suicide than suffer hunger with their children, like we saw in Butterworth in the Eastern Cape.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I indicated earlier that the Interministerial Committee is now seized with these matters, Honorable Wahube, to ensure sustainable land reform. We have put in all mechanisms to ensure support, particularly of Black farmers. I indicated earlier that 60% of Black-owned farms by Black farmers will receive these support that we are providing to ensure that they can have seeds, implements, equipments, etc. So the support is there, and we are going to make sure that all the farmers that require this support do receive it, so that we can ensure that in South Africa there is food security, ensuring that the farmers do receive the support that they need. We are doing that, Honorable Wahube.
I thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable B.N. Luthuli. Honorable B.N. Luthuli. All right, we then proceed. We proceed to the last supplementary question, which will be asked by the Honorable M.E. Sukers.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Deputy President, as I'm speaking to you today, there is a serious security issue developing in this area, Kleinzee in Komaggas. And I'm speaking on behalf of the Nama people, the people of Namakwaland, who are being robbed of their ancestral wealth and their right to land and business ownership as diggers. The people of Komaggas and Buffelsrivier are the rightful owners of Bontekoi, a rural farm that is mineral rich. This community seeks government intervention for land ownership and mining rights to advance small, medium enterprises in mining. They are unable to acquire mining rights, and on this land are the indigenous Nama people, many women who seek legal digger rights and ownership. The land claim is against the land owned by De Beers and Alex Corps in Kleinzee. It's 300,000 hectares of land. Will the Deputy President make a commitment as part of his visit to the Western Cape to not only visit Kleinzee and Komaggas, Bontekoi area, but to accelerate the land claim of the indigenous people of Komaggas, their right to have the land registered in their name, their rights to mine minerals in the land of their ancestors as rightful owners and beneficiaries of wealth?
I'm really sorry, Honorable Member, there's a point of order. Honorable Member?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm rising on Rule 142 again. This is a totally new question. It would have been relevant on question 16, not to the current question of financing. Thank you.
I thank you, Honorable Member Khatebe. Honorable Deputy President, are you ready to answer the question? But bear in mind the comments made by Honorable Khatebe.
Yes, I think honorable member is right. It would have fitted nicely in the other question.
Okay.
We
Yes.
will look at it. We will look at it, not today, but we will look at it.
Thank you, honorable
Madam
members.
Speaker, on the point of order,
Honorable members, now Honorable Shengwa Yima.
Madam Speaker,
Honorable Shengwa, I have your name here. You've sent your name now. I called Honorable Lutuli twice earlier on.
Yes,
I now
ma'am.
allow you to raise your question.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Namhlanje asizwana ngazi siqhathe ubani. Honorable Deputy President, small and medium scale farmers in rural areas need both extensive and consistent funding, as well as access to digital and technological innovations in order to increase productivity, which in turn fully allows them to contribute towards increased food production, a vibrant economic activity, and job creation. Considering this element, I would like to know how these financial frameworks will aim to include a focus on digital innovations consistent with 4IR, as small and medium-scale black farmers currently do not have an advantage in this regard. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I thank you, honorable member, honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Shengwa, we have decided to support all farmers. In case there are those that are saying they are struggling to get the support, we will look into that through the department. Because I think it's important for us, particularly those farmers in deep rural areas that may be struggling to reach us. We are going to look into that so that we don't leave them behind. So I can assure you, Honorable Shengwa, that those kind of farmers in rural areas will also be given priority. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable Deputy President. The last question has been asked by the Honorable G.G. Mpumza to the Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the National Dialogue on Coalition Governments was hosted on the 4th and 5th of August 2023 here in the Western Cape, at the University of the Western Cape, and discussions were held on developing a framework to guide coalition government across the 3 spheres of government. Currently, we have sent the framework to all parties that participated in the dialogue, and we are awaiting responses in order to finalize the report that we would like to present to Parliament for approval. I would like to thank the political parties that have submitted. In this regard, the IFP has already responded. So we urge all other parties to do likewise so that we can complete the report. The government also acknowledges the negative impact of these functional coalition governments on the mandate of municipalities to deliver essential services. So to this end, work is underway to develop framework and legislative amendments that will apply specifically to local governments. So COGTA is busy with this work. While a broader process of developing a national framework for coalition is underway, COGTA will ensure that this work is given urgent attention, particularly implementing policy and legislative reforms that will stabilize local government. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with section 1541 of the Constitution, the national government in collaboration with provincial government will continue to strengthen the capabilities of municipalities in managing their own affairs. Because we don't want to take over, we want to help them manage their own affairs and carry out their functions. We therefore call on all members of this august house to continue to exercise leadership to achieve the cohesion of municipalities. The nation's success is far greater than the narrow interests of individuals and political parties. So let's work together. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Deputy President, the first supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable G.G. Mpumza.
Enkosi Mama Usomlomo. Honorable Deputy President, thanks for your response. I would like to get your views on these following matters. At the National Dialogue on Coalition Governments held at the University of Western Cape, several important progressive values and principles on coalitions were highlighted. First, that coalition should be founded on a common minimum program embodied in the Citizens' Charter, and it is imperative that such a program be made public and subjected to discussion in committee meetings. Secondly, that coalition partners must commit unwaveringly to shared values, including stability, accountability, ethics, and integrity. Lastly, transparency and accountability are crucial aspects of coalition governance. Coalition government should remain transparent and accountable to the people within their jurisdiction. A genuine national dialogue amongst political parties is critical, but fundamental element of our democracy is public involvement and participation in the formulation of intervention to strengthen coalitions and to develop a national consciousness and understanding the implications of a coalition and the duty of the assistance in that. Thank you, Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Mpumza. Honorable Luzipo, make sure you are muted, please. The
Thank you.
Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Mpumza, at the dialogue on the 4th and 5th of August, we did present principles that we believe will assist to ensure stability where there are coalition. One of them was putting people first, but to build. Because the work of local government is about providing services to the people. So in whatever they do, when they come up with this coalition, that should be the coalition. That must be the first things that they consider. The second one is that we believe that those governments, the coalition governments, like all other governments, including province and national, should be about combating poverty, growing the economy, creating jobs. So we don't want the coalition government for the sake of it. Or like, Tata Lok, Minangzo Tata Lok. We don't want that. We want principle that says, what are we going to do for the people? How are we going to grow the economy, create jobs? Because at the end of the day, local government must assist provinces and national government to ensure prosperity. Because that's what we want to see happening, that our people must live in societies that are transformed, where economy is growing, there are jobs, and finally we have prosperous societies. So local government must, be anchored by those kind of principles, including good governance. We hear a lot about corruption in local government, or resources not being used properly. So the issue of good governance is critical to ensure that we can provide services. So I would say, let us strengthen those principles. Wherever we're thinking of coalitions, they must be anchored around those principles. If parties at all those levels work according to these principles, we shouldn't see instability because they'll be guided by this principle. But thank you very much for the question.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable General P.H. Holomisa.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honorable Deputy President, as you are aware, successful coalitions require inter-party goodwill, cooperative and constructive relationships, as well as the establishment of a body to monitor their functioning and to assist government in dispute resolution. However, given that your government has already been in the process of drafting the bill, which included imposing the ridiculous and unconstitutional 1% threshold, going forward, what proportional system will be used to foster inclusivity? And have you considered any effective approach to ensure active participation of all political parties with no representation in parliament as well as independent candidates?
Thank you, Honorable Member. I thank you, Honorable Member. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. General, Honorable Holomisa, you'll recall that at the dialogue itself, where you also made contributions, this issue was debated, the question of threshold. We explained at the time that that was not to throttle smaller parties, but really to set up a benchmark that is acceptable in terms of how we do work going forward. I know that, General, you were among those who were very skeptical of this threshold. I think at some point, General said, this is a machination of the ANC and the DA to try and throttle us. No, it's not the case. You know, when parties go and contest elections, they do so to win. And I'm sure when you campaign there, you want to win in such a way that you have a presence that can be felt when you come to bodies like this. So it shouldn't be difficult for a party to get more than 1% if you campaign hard. So General, we're not using the threshold to exclude you. But you also said that we need a body to implement it. COGTA has been looking at these principles and how we can work together. So I'm willing to receive your proposal, General, on how you think we can handle this part. Because if we don't have threshold, we might end up...
But you consult us. You didn't consult anybody. Why are you...
Member, please.
I was saying, Speaker, in conclusion.
Honorable General.
Oh, sorry.
Please, don't do that.
I was saying, Speaker, that threshold are, you know, it's a method that it's acceptable. You know, even in the Constitution, you'll recall that when we go and campaign, whoever should serve in Parliament, there is a threshold. You don't invite people with 0% to Parliament. So threshold are used to determine the acceptable way of ensuring who participate. But General, I'm awaiting your response in writing.
I think you guys must just go back to the drawing board.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. Awuzuphinda Khwankwa wenze loo nto.
I expose it.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
Zakupa. Honorable members, don't do that. Don't. Now, the third supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable Mani.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Deputy President, in 1994, the A-Team ANC promised 30% of agricultural land to be transferred to Black people in 5 years. It's common cause that the ANC has dismally failed and has postponed this noble goal to 2030. Noting that Minister Thembing Kadiming is on record on possible ANC-DA coalition, the question is, should the issue of the land not be a deal breaker in your coalition arrangements?
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Honorable Deputy President. Honorable members, don't drown the speakers, please. Honorable Deputy President.
No, Honorable Mani, we don't have a coalition with the DA. Do you have another question?
But this Deputy President is not taking
Thank you,
the question
Honorable
serious.
Deputy President. We
We came to
proceed.
play here.
And
We came to play here.
Honorable Ntlangwini. Honorable Ntlangwini, should I switch off your microphone?
Aye.
Bye. Thank you. Switch off, Honorable Ntlangwini uhambe. Thank you very much, honorable members. The last supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable A.M. Sheikh Imam.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me first of all to congratulate and thank you, the ANC and government, for allowing the Palestinians to now travel to South Africa visa-free. Thank you very much for that. Your contribution will not go unnoticed in the next election. Now, Deputy President, I think I've raised this before on the issue of coalition governments, and the only contributing factor for coalition governments to collapse, and more importantly, as you know, some political parties are in the business of assassinating. You've lost a lot of councillors. NFP has lost, ACDP, I think, has lost, EFF has lost councillors. The problem is the issue of money, the access of funds to politicians and political parties, and where they appoint people associated with them so that they can benefit and sustain themselves. How or what measures are you going to put in place to ensure that coalitions are successful by dealing with that root cause, which is the evil of access to money by political parties who govern wherever they govern? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Sheikh. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Imam. Obviously, political parties need to operate and must have sufficient resources to do so. Honorable Imam is quite right that in some instances, people fight for position because they want to have access to resources, to money, something that we need to deal with as society. And encourage people who want to be councillors or politicians to do that because they want to serve, not because they are going to get resources to themselves or to their parties. Yes, parties need resources to operate, but I don't think it's something that we should kill one another for. I think if we are elected by people, let's go and serve. People do pay rates and taxes, and those resources are intended to ensure that local government operates, councillors and political parties that are governing to be able to operate and provide services to the people. So we must work hard to take out the evil of money amongst us and focus on serving the people. I think it's part of the moral regeneration. We talk a lot about moral regeneration. We must strengthen it by ensuring that service for the people must be service for the people, not service for rewards. And that's what we must do. But thank you very much, Honorable Imam, for the question. We'll try to work hard with everybody. Part of our responsibility from the Deputy President's office is to continue to entrench social cohesion and moral regeneration in society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. Honorable members, that concludes questions to the Deputy President. I thank the Honorable Deputy President, and the session is adjourned.
I wish all members a happy Heritage Month. Thank you very much.
Order. I request members to stand and wait for the chair and the maids to leave the chamber.